sunflower trying to attack me here. So, I was talking about covering a tree over in this garden. This is my no-till garden, as Ruth, the previous owner, called it. Kind of a neat concept and fits in with my permaculture forest, food forest idea. And I'll scan around and show you here some more of it in just a little bit. But I wanted to make sure that I get my tree covered. This is a fig tree. And I don't know what kind of fig. I'd asked Ruth if it had ever produced for her, because our climate isn't the best for fig trees. She said that if it was a mild winter and the fig tree didn't die back, that it would produce the next year. It didn't produce this year because it had died back to the roots, and it grew back. It'll grow back from the roots, but it just won't produce in the first year. So I'm hoping by putting a cover on it, whether we have a mild winter or not, that I can save this from dying all the way down to the roots so that we can have figs next year. So let's see how well this fits. It's the same size of bag I used on the artichoke plant. I'm just not sure if it's going to be tall enough. I wonder if I do it sideways. That might work. We'll give it a try and see. It got taller than I thought it was. It's over 5 feet tall. I'll probably end up also putting a nice thick layer of mulch around the trunk and try to protect it down there as well, because I don't think this bag is going to fit all the way down there. It'll do a good portion of it. All right. It's all in there, the top part anyway. Alright, so it does cover a good portion of it. We have about 2 feet down here where it's not covered, and I might just get some of that other rope cover that I have and add it at the bottom, but then also put in some mulch down there. But for now, our freeze tonight isn't going to be too bad, so this should protect it for at least that. Then I'll make sure to get in here before Saturday, where we're supposed to get down to like 22 degrees at night. Tonight is only supposed to get about 33, 32. So hopefully we'll save this, and next year we can have some figs from it. Now I'll just kind of show you around this garden and just give you a tour of the no-till garden. Didn't explain what she said the no-till garden was. So Ruth's idea with this, she had rows of things like chard and spinach, kale, trying to think what else. There's a lot of chard. Beets. And her idea with it was to let it go to seed in the springtime and in the fall. And then, summer in the fall. And in the springtime, before anybody else is thinking, and especially me, is thinking about even getting seeds ready to plant. I'm usually pretty late on that. Before anybody's got seeds going, you've already got stuff growing out here, because the seeds start growing as soon as the weather allows for it out here. And so she was always picking stuff early in the spring and getting some good greens going. So I'm really excited to have this garden. I'm gonna kind of trim it up some and maybe plant some different things that our family is more into eating. I know kale is like a superfood, but our family really doesn't dig it very much. I will probably keep some around though to give to the chickens, and I like to pick them a handful of greens every now and then to toss into them to eat. So we'll go and give you a tour of the no-till garden. Oop. Hey, tiger. Alright, so here we go on the tour. First, just to show you where we are regarding to the location of the house. So this is our house over here. We just have this short walk over here, out the fence, and then conveniently located for easy access in the early spring. So right here in this side, there's a lot of herbs like lemon balm and sage. There might be some thyme. I can't remember all that she planted here. There's also chives and some garlic. A lot of it has been covered right now, though, by this squash plant, or actually it's multiple squash plants, because I see a few different types of squash growing from the vines. But from here all the way up there, there's lemon balm underneath there. There's sage right there. Let's see if we can zoom in. I'll take you in there too. But yeah, I don't know. Somewhere in there is some sage. You can see it's hard to get to because the squash have taken over, which is really quite nice because all of the other squash were attacked by squash bugs. But you can see here, I think this is just some kind of pumpkin. And then there's some little baby pumpkins right there. They aren't going to have time to mature, obviously, since the frost is tonight. There's another pumpkin right there. And then down in here, I'm not sure what type of squash these orange ones are, but if they can make good pumpkin scones, non-pumpkin pumpkin scones, then they'll do. This right here is a tomatillo. They've been popping up all over the place. Here's a couple more of those orange ones. If you know what type these are, let me know. But I think they'll be good for making pies. Oops, it's hiding. There it is. Making pies. Oh, looks like there's another pumpkin one right there. And pumpkin scones and that kind of stuff. Then there's, I can't tell if this is the same type as the other, just not matured to an orange, but still a yellow, or if it's a completely different one, but there's that one, and then this one. We have a volunteer tomato there. She did plant some other things in here, like tomato plants and some other squash as well. What did I see that I was going to point out? I don't know, but there's mint here. Oh, onions. You can probably see onion stems. Wade through the squash here. So like right here and right there, there's just onion growing all over through here. So that's another thing she just lets go to seed. And let's see, there's another squash back there. Yeah, so she just lets it go to seed and lets it come back up. Then you can come out when you need an onion. And ooh, just saw another one hiding down in there. Yay! So I'm gonna need to clean all these squash vines up. so I can have access to this side of the garden better. Oh my, 2 more pumpkins right there. But that's another thing I need to harvest before tonight too, is the squash. Well, I don't know, they might be able to survive a freeze, but I don't know if I want to chance it, because I do want these squash and I don't want them to freeze. Another pumpkin right there. This was a huge sunflower plant that got knocked over in a wind, and you can see right there and there a couple more that got knocked over. So coming back here by the fig tree, these are some chives. You can see, just let them go to seed and they drop and then they start growing more. This is a type of herb. Can't tell what type it is. Might be a thyme. This right here is a rhubarb, and then I have a second rhubarb right in through there, if you can discern their leaves from the squash leaves. But these plants are huge, and I have an actual third rhubarb plant in the no-till garden way up there. I'll show you. And it had huge stalks. Also mixed right in here with the squash are some grape leaves, and that's going to be one of the projects I'm working on, is to make a trellis for the grapes. It's a Thompson seedless grape, which I'm really excited to have here. So right now it's just growing all in throughout here, so I need to get a trellis. I might like put a little seat here so I can sit and enjoy the garden at times with the grapes growing over. Underneath here I put rhubarb leaves on it. This is apparently horseradice. Horseradish. Oh, jeez. Horseradish. And she says, Ruth says that she's tried to dig it out, tried, and it just keeps coming back. So, we might give horseradish I just need to stop saying that. Horseradish a try. I'm not fond of the spiciness myself. My husband might like it. But otherwise, I'm going to be digging this out and finding a different home for it. I'm just seeing another squash. They're all over. So here's the sage. Right there. Coming back here, these are strawberries. They're not doing very well right now. I'll have to probably try thinning them out and making them a little more. I do like organized chaos. We need to do something here though, to make a pathway or something through. This bin right here had strawberries in it, and there's some, I think that's garlic. There's a whole bunch of garlic. This is where I dug out the garlic that I ended up planting over in the other garden area. Let's see. Yep, lemon balm right here. Oh, that smells good. Oh, look at that. A little strawberry. And then there's tomatillos growing in here as well. They're just all over. But this whole mess in here, there's just a bunch of kale. A lot of stuff has gone to seed. All of these things right here, that's the seed. They just falls, and then next spring it'll start growing. And in fact, we've had a lot of stuff even start regrowing this year, like this right here. I believe is spinach, and this just started regrowing a month ago or so, or a few weeks anyway. And so I'm excited to have that spinach. Someone's texting me. I'm not sure what that is. We'll see. It might be a spinach almost going to seed. So back here we have tomatoes that I could just never keep up with harvesting. A bunch of cherry tomatoes, really. Tomatillos. Again, a bunch of and a weed that's stickery. Let's see what this one's like. Oops. Well, I don't know that I'm going to do much with the tomatillos this year. I might wait for next year to do something with those. I have so much on my plate to do right now. She had some cabbage in here, and I picked a couple small heads, but apparently the cows that they had got out and came into the garden here and were munched up all of her cabbages. You can see some more, I'm not sure what those are. Those almost look like a flowering plant, but they could be garlic. Oh, I bet it is garlic, because look, yeah. You can see here, oops, there's the bulbs. So yeah, these are garlic coming up, just these bulbs being left in the ground. They just start regrowing and will grow more plants. So you don't ever have to worry about planting garlic each year. You can just leave it to go to seed and then come out and harvest it as you need it. Another cabbage here, some kale. Over here we're planted some squash. You can see our evidence that the squash bugs got to these plants, killed them off. I think this is an onion of some kind. There we go to seed. Calendula flowers all over the place. Those are nice to have. So anyway, she had some squash in here trying to hide them from the other garden, hoping the squash bugs wouldn't find them, but they did. But I'm glad they didn't find that one over there. Those plants. So here are some, the bright red chard. And lots of salad greens to eat. Here. All right, well, had to run inside for something real quick, and I came back out. I'm starting to feel some raindrops, but we're so close to being done that I want to try to get this done. And then we'll escape the rain, so we'll see how it goes. So here's that rhubarb that I was saying had such huge stalks, and it's on its way out really. Oops. But I just wanted to show you an example of how thick these stalks got on this particular rhubarb plant. Huge. And it really didn't affect like their flavor or anything. Sometimes they got like a little tough, I guess, but really quite usable even at this size. So I'm just excited. I love rhubarb, and it's going to be one of the staples on our farm. In fact, I joked around about having a lavender and rhubarb farm, so we'll see. I do have 4 rhubarb plants that Ruth left here, and then I have 2 or 3 more that I brought from my old house. And then there's at least one more kind that I want to get called the kangaroo. And that one, it's supposed to be tolerant for heat. So obviously rhubarb does fine in our climate here, but it'd be nice to have one that does well in heat, because we do get hot summers here. And oh, I think the rain stopped for now. Plus it's red like all the way through, and so you know, a lot of rhubarb shows red, but then it's green on the inside. So I don't mind that. In fact, one of the rhubarbs that I brought is more of a green one and not so much red. And to me, it's just fine. But it's kind of nice to have that pop of color too. So let me show you these couple rows of the garden here, and then we'll go from there. So here, I'm not sure what's popping up here. The tops just kind of remind me of leeks, and it's highly possible these could be leeks. I don't know. This is a morning glory flower. Not as invasive as the other morning glory that many of us here in the Pacific Northwest dread. I don't know if any of you other people have morning glory that's invasive and kills and destroys your garden. But This is not so bad. It really just comes up from seed a lot, so it's easier to get rid of than the other Morning Glory that has a root system 18 inches underground that's hard to get out. So here, this is radish that's gone to seed. So we'll have lots of radish here hopefully next year. I did plant some in my greenhouse, but I'm hoping that will produce more during the winter. We'll see what these radish plants do here. You can see the rows here are just kind of starting to get filled with different kinds of plants that are already growing from seed. So anyway, lots of onion or onion related plants growing along in here. More cherry tomatoes here. More onion related. I'm not sure what kind those are. Here's a big cherry tomato plant that's kind of taken over right here. Pretty sure this is all just one plant. I think that was a red cabbage plant that I picked a couple red cabbage heads off of. Little ones. You know what can happen after you pick the head of lettuce. If you leave the rest, then you could get, you know, a little offshoot, tiny heads of cabbage. That right there, huge beet. So we're letting that go to seed. And hopefully get some more beets next year, even though we're not huge beet fans. Always like to try to learn to eat stuff that is healthy for you. This might be a turnip or something. Something like that. Oh, I forgot about this. Back here she has, and it looks like it may have finally died. This was a honeyberry plant, which I've never tasted honeyberry, but she was in that kind of heading towards the mindset of being a permaculture. So she was looking for, you know, things like the berry bushes that, you know, are perennial plants that will come back. But it doesn't look like that one survived. There was a second one, she says, somewhere, but it might be under here, under tomatillos and tomatoes, which have just taken over this corner. So this is my no-till garden. More evidence of the squash bugs there. And, you know, it needs a lot of work, but it's also kind of intended to be a little bit on the wild side. Just let it run its course and refresh its own by planting seeds where they fall. Really along the lines of what my goal is with gardening. Here she had some pepper plants here, and then there was a red pepper there, and then another pepper mixed in with the radish plant here. So yeah, this will be continued by me, kept up by me, and you know, I'll plant some other stuff in there, maybe more lettuce. I'm a little surprised that I don't see very much lettuce in here, because that tends to be more what we eat rather than chard. We do like spinach, and we'll try to add some of this other stuff to our diet. For being vegetarians, we sure don't eat a lot of these leafy greens, but we're working on it. So I want to take you over here. I've shown you the 3 of my rhubarb plants, so let me show you where the 4th one is. So this, they have the creek gated off for some reason. I think to keep critters from the creek bed. Ugh, hold up. Sorry, trying to close the gate behind me. Urgh. Sorry, got up close and personal with the morning glory there. So anyway, even on the outside of the fence here, yeah, isn't this lovely? Carpet, a carpeted path by the creek. Who wouldn't ever want that? It's to help with erosion. I know what they were trying to do, and we're going to eventually be redoing this creek so that it's just nicer looking. And sorry, I'm seeing something that looks like a den for some critter over there. We'll see if I can just see a can get in there. Just right there, there's a little dark hole right there. Don't know what might be living there. Anyway, they were trying to control the erosion the best way we could, but we're gonna come through and just revamp this whole creek eventually. So anyway, a lot of these plants, their seeds have come and grown on this side. This is more of the cherry tomato. Sorry, it's unsure footing there. So this is the other side of the corner here, where all the tomatoes are and the honeyberries right there. You can see this tomato plant. I don't know if it's more than one, but it is huge. And here is another 1 or 2 tomato plants growing in here, along with some tomatillos. But also right here is my 4th rhubarb plant. Oh, the rain's coming. The rain's coming. So that is about it for the garden tours and getting ready for the freeze tonight. So I have some more things to do today, so I got to get going. But I'll show you in the greenhouse what's happening with my seedlings in there on another day. And I have a little bit to tell you about the lost apple project as well. It's not a whole lot. It's not terribly exciting. Just an update. And kind of just follow that story along, because the story is not over yet. It's just kind of be a longer story than I thought it was going to be. Hoped it would be. So anyway, we'll see you later.